Now we have Pili and Arya, who are going to give us an update on Zebra. Please welcome Pili and Arya.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome. So nice to be here and to see you all. I'm Pili. I'm the engineering manager at the Zcash Foundation.
And I'm Arya. I am a core developer on the Zebra project at the Foundation.
And today, we're going to take you through what's been going on with Zebra since we all got together for Zcon4 in Vegas last year. So before Vegas, we had been busy working on adding functionalities to Zebra that could indirectly help wallet users by acting as an alternative backend to Light Wallet D. So it was at this point that we were confident enough in the functionality that Zebra could provide that we also started tagging release candidate versions of Zebra. And we were preparing for an audit, and we were also looking forward to a future stable release. So Vegas happened. We were all very excited, very energized after meeting up in person. And we got back. We finished off the Light Wallet D work. And we started thinking about other areas of the Zcash ecosystem where Zebra could provide additional functionality. And so we decided to turn our sights on mining pools. Now, most mining pools use proprietary software to mine blocks. But what we could do was we could leverage some of the work we've been doing on the Light Wallet D work to provide an RPC server and actually implement some RPC methods to generate block templates and support all of the other RPC methods that mining pools use to support their operations. So we also use this opportunity to improve the mempool performance and implement some of the improvements that had been outlined in ZIPS 3.17, which was used as a way to mitigate some of the sandblasting attacks that had been happening on the Zcash blockchain at the time. So in order to prioritize, we didn't want to implement all of the mining RPC methods. There are very many of them with a large number of options, and we wanted to concentrate our efforts on things that people were actually using. So we reached out to some mining pools. We asked them, what do you use? How do you use them? And we got a list of features to implement. And then we looked at, once all that was finished, we looked at getting back in contact with them and trying to get them to try out Zebra for their mining operations. And so we were ready to support them and waiting for their feedback, but we couldn't just sit on our hands while this was happening. And also, we didn't want to start any major pieces of work and have that interrupted and have that context switch going on. So we decided to open it up to the engineering team to come up with a series of self-contained projects that they could work on during a 2-week sprint. So we work in 2-week sprints, which is a 2-week sprint is a self-contained time of work where the issues are fixed beforehand. And so, yeah, we gave the freedom to the developers to experiment and introduce some cool new experimental features in Zebra. And I will tell you a little bit more about what we came up with in a minute. And so now we had some functionality to support wallet users. We had some functionality to support miners. And so we were feeling quite good. And we thought, right, Zebra has all of the required functionality in order to go stable. But before we did that, we wanted it to get audited. So we went through a full security audit of Zebra and some of its major dependencies. And because we wanted to have some additional measure of confidence that Zebra didn't contain any important vulnerabilities that could compromise or otherwise harm the Zcash network and blockchain. So I'll also very briefly go through some of that process and some of the other security disclosures that happened over the last 12 months. So finally, Zebra was fully audited. We were confident. We were really excited to tag our first stable release. And this happened about a month and a half ago. And this brings us more or less up to date. So I'm going to hand over to Arya, and he'll go through some of these items in more detail.
So Light Wallet D support, in the past 12 months since the last Zcon, we have added a multi-threaded RPC server. This means that you can now make far more requests to a single Zebra node. We've also made additional performance improvements. We fixed one particular bug that doubled the initial sync speed. There have been some bug fixes, particularly around compatibility with the Zcash fork of Light Wallet D. And now we're focusing on adoption and developing spend before sync, which is going to offer another set of significant performance improvements. Zebra for miners. So we've added support for the RPC methods and all the fields that mining pools have told us they commonly use. We're still looking for input in terms of any fields or additional RPCs that mining pools may need. Please reach out to us if you have any of that input. But for now, we've got all the common methods down, all the fields, and we've mined our first block on testnet using a Zebra-generated block template some months ago. We've published a Docker image to make it really easy to use Zebra with mining features with Docker. Zip 317 is implemented from the get-go, which means only 50 unpaid actions are going to go into the block templates that Zebra generates at most. And there have been a bunch of mempool improvements, both in terms of performance and correctness and security. Zebra's hack sprints. So we all had different ideas here. One of these ideas was progress bars. So Zcash D has, for a long time, had these nice progress bars. The logs don't fill up in the way that Zebra does. And now Zebra has an experimental feature, soon to be ported to stable, that's going to do the same. Currently, it shows the status of your peers, blocks, transactions, and it shows you different information depending on where you are in your sync. So if you're already past the checkpoint, the max checkpoint when you start up your node, it's not going to show the checkpointed blocks. And it's similar for the other bars. Blockchain data visualization. So another one of these projects was porting all of the data from Zebra State to Elasticsearch, and then adding on Kibana. We get a bunch of really nice analytics very easily. It's currently also an experimental feature, but we are working on stabilizing this as well. It should be relatively good to test on mainnet, at least. It does replicate the entire state, which means you're going to need a lot of storage to use this. And then Rykov RPCs. This one is not an experimental feature, but was an experiment that we did during the hack sprint to look into using different data formats for our RPCs. Rykov, in experimentation and benchmarking, seems to work pretty well, pretty quickly. And it's a zero-copy deserialization framework specifically for Rust that serializes the data as it would be represented in memory in Rust. So it's optimized. It's a candidate format for a potential multi-format RPC server, particularly for external wallet integrations, where we may be able to have an external client that is built in Rust and built around this.
Right. So more ways to Zebra. So a year ago, we were still on a beta release series. And once the Light Wallet D work was finished, as I mentioned, we started tagging these release candidates in preparation for a stable release. And so it was around this time that we started thinking about, well, what is the easiest way for people to install and run Zebra? And we first settled on Docker as a really nice standardized way for people to run Zebra with minimum effort. So they wouldn't have to worry about having the right compilers, having the right tools. They could just download the Docker image, and as long as they could run Docker on their machine, they could also run a Zebra node. And so another way that we wanted to distribute Zebra to our users was to make ZebraD and the rest of the Zebra library packages available on crates.io. So for those of you that don't know about Rust, in the Rust ecosystem, crates.io is the community registry for library packages. So it's similar, if you're familiar with Python, it's very similar to pip or npm in Node.js. So publishing these crates on crates.io allows anyone that has the Rust cargo tool installed to just run cargo install ZebraD, and that will download and install the latest packaged versions of Zebra to their machines. And then, of course, they can run ZebraD start to actually run the Zebra node. And then I wanted to finally mention our last developer-led experimental sprint project by Marek, who was our MC for the session. And he decided to package Zebra for Arch Linux. And it is now a community-maintained package in the Arch Linux user repository, also known as the AUR. And so if you're an Arch Linux user and you want to try Zebra out, please go check it out. And so we're always looking for ways to make it easier for people to adopt the Zebra, as we like to say. And so if none of these options work for you, please come find me. Please let us know. Write an issue on our GitHub. Find us on our Discord, and we'll see what we can do to help you out and how we can prioritize that work. So yeah. So actually, having lots of ways to deploy Zebra easily is no good if those nodes are going to be vulnerable to exploits and then in turn make the whole of the Zcash network vulnerable. So throughout the past year, we've been acting upon a number of issues that have been raised by various teams in the Zcash ecosystem and also in the wider ecosystem. So the main one that you may have heard about was the Halban security disclosure. I also wanted to mention the Komodo team. They've been raising some issues on our GitHub repo. And a huge, huge thanks to the Equilibrium Labs team and the Iger team who are working on the Tor Project. And they've done a lot of testing on the Zcash network, and they have reported a lot of issues to us. And we are so thankful and happy that people are finding issues so that we can fix them and we can make Zebra even better and better and improve the resilience of the Zcash network in the process. And so finally, Zebra was audited by the NCC group. So I wanted to thank them for the work on the Zebra audit. And you can find the report publicly available on their website. I think we also linked to it from our blog. If you're interested and you can't find it, please ask me and I will find it for you. But I'm happy to report there were no significant issues found with that. Yeah. 1 medium issue, 7 lows, and 8 informational, and a bunch of comments to improve our code quality, which we very much welcome. Yeah. So once we worked with the NCC group to fix all of the reported issues in Zebra, we were finally happy to tag our stable release. And I have just some statistics on the sort of numbers that took us to get here. We released 20 alphas, 16 betas, 10 release candidates. And thank you to the 27 contributors. Those 27 that's excluding any bots that we have on the repo. Many thanks to all the ECC engineers that helped us on this journey, with advice, reviews, comments. The help was invaluable. There have been 74 forks. I mean, a lot of them are probably other developers, our own developers working on the code, but we do have some other teams from other blockchains that have forked Zebra and are working on that. So that 1,000 pulls from Docker Hub is not quite accurate. Last time I checked, it was around 970 something. So I rounded up, hoping that by the time this talk happened, it would be up to 1,000. It wasn't last night, but there are more than 150 downloads on crates.io. So that figure is not as inflated as the other one. So yeah, we're very happy. It's stable. We want people to use it, and we want people to, we're only going to be able to find more issues if it's used by people. It can be the most perfect node, but we won't know until people get out and try it out. And please do report any issues that you find. So this is what's been going on for the past 12 months. And so looking to the future, what does that look like for Zebra? So we've been looking at some of the ideas that are listed on the slide. And we've been thinking about, OK, we have all this functionality in Zebra. What other additional functionality can we add that doesn't quite take us to feature parity with Zcash, but fills some additional gaps that should be filled by a Zcash node? So we've been thinking about the necessary functionality for Zebra to support a full node wallet, external wallet, I should say, and whether there are any groups that we could work with on this. We don't feel we can support an external wallet ourselves, given the size of our teams. So yeah, if you'd like to work with us on an external full node wallet, please let us know. So then there's another set of ideas that run along the theme of, okay, what Zcash network infrastructure is there out there where we can leverage functionality that we've already implemented in Zebra as a full node, and yeah, reuse that and replace or augment some of this infrastructure. So one of the ideas is, well, what if we replace Light Wallet D, and instead of having this intermediary proxy server, light wallets can connect directly to a Zebra that is implementing the Light Client protocol directly, the Light Client RPCs. So that's one of the ideas. And then also we've been looking at implementing a DNS seeder using the Zebra network library. So we've done a lot of work on it, and is there some way that we can leverage all this work that we've already done to rewrite the DNS seeder or have an alternative DNS seeder implementation? Yeah, because personally we don't, the current DNS seeder is written in Go. We do have to make changes to it every time there's a network upgrade, and it would be nicer to be able to work with something that is more maintainable by the current teams working on Zcash. And then finally, as Arya mentioned before, we are investigating how we can support multiple RPC formats and protocols in support of some of these other ideas, such as the external wallet and the Light Client support. Yeah, so those are some of the ideas we've been evaluating. There's a poll on Hoover. If you have any thoughts on those, please vote. If you have any additional ideas, please come find us. And we always like to listen to opinions from the community. One thing that we really do want to do is we want to do a Debian package for Zebra. So Zcash has a Debian package, and we imagine that this is a preferred way for people to run a Zcash node. So we would like to do that and support some of the same deployment options that Zcash D does. And then finally, we don't know what the Zcash long-term future is going to look like, but we will keep an eye on the SIPs that are being proposed out there. We will look at what the required effort will be to bring CSAs to Zebra, whether the sustainability fund will need to also be implemented in Zebra, and any other potential new work that may come out of a future network upgrade. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to take you through today. Thank you so much for listening. And do you have any questions?
Are there any questions in the audience? Yep, microphone.
Sorry if I missed it, but did you compare the performance and proof of work between the two nodes? Like between Zcash D and?
It's on our list. It's one of these things that we have anecdotal evidence, or not anecdotal kind of data, but no hard evidence so far. So the short answer is no. It is something that we do want to do, but we also want to think about how we measured that.
Well, what is the anecdotal?
Sorry?
What is the anecdotal result? You think it's faster?
I mean, we think it's faster, but I don't know that it is significantly faster. Like, I mean, I'm very conservative. If you talk to Arya, he will give you a different answer. I would like to to actually do a proper comparison before I, say anything concrete.
One more thing. In the initial talk, there was the item on the list was Tor integration or something.
Right.
But it's not here, and it's not in the poll to vote for it. But anyway.
It's something we're evaluating. It very much depends on the RT project. And, it's something we'd love to do.
But you want Tor to be restful? That is what you mean?
Sorry?
What is the Artem project?
So it's kind of, it's something that we want to do, but it's kind of like almost an add-on to some of the other proposals. Is right, what's the core of the work that needs to be done? And Tor is like a plus, a nice cherry on top, right? So it is something that we want to do, but we also want to do it thoughtfully, and we want to ensure that we don't place extra load on the Tor network. And personally, I would love to see a way that if we are using the Tor network, we're also contributing to it and donating as we use it to help support that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? There's a question in the Hova app. Someone says that the integration with Light Wallet D is awesome. And the question is, would it be possible to automate the process of deployment of a public Light Wallet D server with Zebra and Docker?
I think it would be possible. If the community wants it, it's definitely something that we could consider. Another thought here would be integrating first-party support for Light Wallet D straight into Zebra so that it works with a compilation feature instead.
What is the plan to get people to adopt Zebra?
Very good question. I heard someone say that we can't just rely on if we build it, they will come. What is the plan? Hopefully, we need to get out there, and I think we need to engage with more of the members of the community that might have need for a Zebra node, and run it, and help them and handhold them as much as they need to through the process, and really listen. But I want feedback. I feel like we're not getting enough feedback, and I want more feedback. And maybe that's because no one is using it and they have nothing to say, or maybe it's because they have different priorities in the Zcash ecosystem. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, maybe make it easier. I would love for someone to tell us, I would love to run a Zebra node, but you're not doing X. I'm like, great, we can do X. Let's do X. But no one is saying that. So please tell us, what is X that we should do? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe make it easier, more ways, more like, I don't know, templates for all the major cloud platforms so you can do a one-click deployment. I don't know if that would help. But yeah, those are ideas we can explore.
And the last question I have here is, what's your favorite part of working on Zebra?
The code quality is superb, and as is the documentation and everything else, the design is superb. It feels sometimes like you're walking through an art gallery.
Okay, thank you, Pili, and thank you, Arya.
Thank you.
Thank you.